Art versus science. So this guy, he represents my entire middle and high school careers. He teaches the text. From day one to the last day of school, we start at the beginning and we work our way through to the end. Doesn't matter what's going on in the world, doesn't matter what questions we raise or what interesting things we can bring to the course. He teaches the text, not the content. Yet, innovation, creativity, and a tolerance for risk-taking, these are strengths of the U.S. So how does that relate to today's kids? Well, first of all, let's recognize that those under 18 are actually the largest generation right now. They make up 36% of the total population. 31% of these kids are minorities. They're much more diverse than we as adults tend to be. What does that mean? They bring different background knowledge, different experiences. It's a huge paradigm shift for what we as teachers tend to expect in our classrooms. These kids have come of age along with the internet. This is huge. What it means is that they are used to being able to have information literally at their fingertips. The idea of having to wait for an adult to answer their questions or give them the information that will enable them to solve their problems is completely antithetical to their real world. Something engages their curiosity, they go and discover it. They want to learn more about butterflies, they go online, they go to Yahooligans, they go to any of the kids' sites and they look and find it out for themselves. Compare this to our experiences of having to go to the library and ask the librarian and look in the Dewey Decimal Card System and figure out what 4 or 5 books are available on butterflies, and that was all you had. Now they can literally go and look at butterfly migrations as they're happening in real time. These kids are not used to having to ask permission or wait when a question comes up, and they are used to finding information that is real, not just put down in a textbook for them to read and then the kids next year to read. They're used to seeing real-time, real-world, authentic artifacts and the things that are being used by the professionals out in the real world. They're used to being able to manipulate. They do mashups. They collaborate. To them, the internet is part of their world, not some new add-on that they have to figure out how to work with. And to them, community is a digital place of common interest, not just a physical shared space. Playing tic-tac-toe online with some kid in Club Penguin is just as real as an experience as if they were standing in the classroom playing it with the kids sitting at the next desk. This is huge. This is a completely different way of recognizing the whole idea of collaboration with others. These kids are not used to being limited by time and space. Again, I go back to Club Penguin because it's so massive. You can log on and play a game with some kid on the other side of the planet. It is just as real an experience. There is no differentiation between here and there. Now, let's look at money. You can see the amount of expendable income that these kids are used to having. Well, what does that translate to us as teachers? It means that we're seeing kids who are used to being listened to. They are not used to having to sit quietly and not share their opinions. When you're having a say in whether your family buys an Astro van or this van or that van, it really does influence your experience in the world. Now, it's not just the teenagers, even the young children. They're used to having information at their fingertips. They're used to the freedom that comes with being able to study or look up things as they come about. So what does this mean for us? Here we are, teachers. We have a room full of these kids. What does it mean? It means we need to recognize that we can't just isolate the classroom, and we can't expect the kids to be passive participants. These are kids who are used to being a part of their world. You know, Dewey, and I'm paraphrasing, Dewey said that school is not separate from the world, it is a part of the world. And we're living with kids who are used to being global citizens, whether that means playing games online with kids across the world, or reading blogs or sharing artwork or participating in a ThinkQuest competition. These are kids who recognize that they are global citizens. We as adults have to use that as we design curriculum. We cannot isolate the kids and isolate their thinking by focusing on only what the textbook says. We have to design our own curriculum. The text is a resource. It is not the subject. You are the curriculum expert for your kids. You need to design curriculum that is rich and engaging and related to the kids and related to the real world and gives them the opportunity to be authentic participants in both the construction of their own knowledge and the world around them. Sounds great, but we're living in an age with scripted curriculum, right? It's designed by a curriculum designer in an office somewhere, so it's got to be better. It's teacher-proof. Teacher-proof? What does that mean? Well, it's designed by someone who knows curriculum, so it's got to be scientific. That means it's better, right? It's been tested. It should work for all kids. Come on. How can someone sitting in an office a million miles away design for your kids? This is how I view curriculum, scripted curriculum. It's easy to buy, but you get it in the real world, and this is what happens. It falls apart. It goes into a million pieces because no one knows your kids the way you do. Scripted curriculum, curriculum in a box, textbooks, worksheets, these are resources. These are not the subject matter. We as educators, teachers, administrators, principals, professionals, I don't care what your particular job is. We need to recognize that no one is better suited to serve our students than those of us who know them and work with them. How does that translate into the classroom? It means we have a lot of work to do. We need to be looking at who our kids are and what they're bringing to the classroom and designing learning that involves them, engages them, asking questions that enable them to get involved in the learning, not just regurgitating, not just going through the motions. Here is an amazing example. Paperclipsmovie.com, the Paperclips project that was done in Tennessee, the curriculum. The kids took over the curriculum and elevated this project from something that needed to just be done to get a little credit to something that literally took on a life of its own. At the very least, look at the website and listen to how the teachers describe their experience. Here is another project that's just amazing. You can still find out about this if you look up WashingtonPost.com, Black Residents Record Memories, it's still there. The high school went and did video and audio of these people who are 100 years old and learned what life was truly like 80, 90 years ago, something they could have never truly experienced from the books. Which leads me back to scripted curriculum. Scientifically designed, so it's got to be right. Right? Designing curriculum is not art versus science, not head versus heart. Designing great, rich, personalized, meaningful curriculum is an art and a science, the two blended together.